I'm just going to show you some examples of molding. So as we get into the CAD, it'll make a little bit more sense to you. This photo here, we're going to go back to at the end of the slideshow and talk about it more. But this is actually pretty close to the layout that a lot of us have for the kitchen we're doing in class. We have a window on the left wall. We have a stove or some other kind of big appliance you have on this long wall. So what's happening here is I want you to pay attention to how this cabinet that's hosting these wall ovens is deeper generally than wall units here. So this is going to be a deeper cabinet. It's going to be as deep as your base cabinet. So your molding here is coming along the front. It's then going back along the side here that we can't see. Then it's going across the front of this cabinet here. And then it's going to go back across to the wall. Sometimes you're then going to run the molding along the top of the window. So depending on how finished this is going to be and how close to the ceiling. In this case, this homeowner then has the molding going along the side here, which we're going to talk about and draw. So I'm going to show you an example of this wall that we're going to draw. You're going to go across this way, then it's going to go across the front of this cabinet. This is an angled corner, so it's cutting that angle. It's going across straight. Then this one is coming towards us across the vent hood and then front of the vent hood and then back along the wall. Now, what they've decided is to kind of stagger the heights here, which is perfectly fine. That might be happening over in this wall. I'm not 100% sure from the angle. But you can see that this height here, so these ones actually, yeah, this one's interesting because this is a deeper cabinet than the wall. So they're, as you figure out the depths of your cabinetry, you've got to make some decisions as the designer of where to start and stop your molding. All right, so that's a general overview of just what the molding looks like there. All right, one of the things to talk about for a couple folks, we discussed this in class, that there are older type of kitchens where there's no molding at all. So these cabinets go right up to this, but this section here, this is not your ceiling. This is what's called a soffit or a bulkhead. That's used to finish off and close up the space between what would be the top of your kitchen cabinet and the ceiling. The benefits of that are that you can put some lighting in here. You can, depending on the house or apartment, they might run ductwork through here. There might be other appliances, like it looks like this is a cooktop here, so there might be a vent going out through this area too. Um, so again, it's kind of traditionally an older style, but there's excuse me, there's benefits to this look also. So that is an option if you have kind of a more modern sort of clean line kitchen. The next one here is similar idea of they're going basically floor to ceiling. Here's the toe kick here where it goes in. But what you need to have, no matter what, is some kind of space here so that when these doors open, the door is not scraping along the top of the ceiling. And so this isn't technically molding, but it would actually still be considered kind of a finished molding piece, where this is just flat wood that's running across the front of these cabinets here. So just keep that in mind that there's options for something that's more modern than these more traditional kind of molding pieces that have a lot of curves to them. Right. Here's an example of one that's kind of probably more transitional, meaning it's a fairly like kind of country sort of elements to this kitchen, but it's also pretty modern too. Again, that's that transitional style. So you can see this house has a lot of traditional moldings going back in this hallway, but they've chosen not to continue it in the kitchen and instead have this fairly simple, just kind of almost just angle, like a kind of a triangle sort of shape here. And it's all in the same wood finish as the cabinet. So, but you can see still where what happens here at this window where the sink is, it's going, in their case, they're going across the wall here. You can just sort of see a little nudge of it there, but you're going along the side of the cabinet, then along the front of the face of it, then across the face here. These cabinets are all at the same depth, so they chose to run it right straight across and the hood kind of sits underneath it. Then it's going along this side wall towards you, and then it's going across the face of this wall. And then it's continuing over here on the rest of the kitchen where we have a tall pantry unit and like a wall oven. And again, a lot of you have a similar kind of layout to this room and space too. All right, so when I sent you to look at CAD profiles, I think a lot of folks got really overwhelmed because a lot of times in the libraries you'll get like the whole set to download. And this is a lot of what you'll be looking at. So this dark blue is what's called the profile. This is the shape That's then, if you think about when we work in SketchUp, where you push or pull that shape, and as you push and pull it, you're going to start to see the indentations and grooves and curves, and that's what makes the shape of this molding. Um, so some of these obviously have a lot more going on than like something simple like this guy, but don't be overwhelmed by these shapes. We're just gonna kind of talk about how they're going to look in the real world in a second. All right, so this is another nice example from a company where this dark gray is the profile. This is the, actual shape we're going to get from CAD. But if you were to stretch it either in SketchUp or again, imagine it in real life, when you buy these planks, usually they're sold in like sort of 8-foot lengths. This is what it's going to look like in the real world. And again, we're dealing with crown molding today. We're also going to put some base molding in on our plans, but they tend to be a little bit more simple. All right, so again, to review kind of what's going to happen as we turn corners here is this is the profile back here, but this is also the profile on this edge too. So you're going to be thinking about, again, when it's rounding a corner, you're going to be seeing this part looking straight on an elevation. So you can see kind of the curves of the shape of something that's more traditional versus this top middle one is a bit more simple. And the bottom left one, again, is a bit more modern too. And then it just has less kind of indentations and curves to it. All right, another thing that you can do is also have a piece of wood that's called a fascia, and that's again going to help bridge the gap between the top of your wall cabinet and the ceiling. Again, it's just another way to sort of finish off that look. So you'd have the fascia, and then the molding, crown molding, would go right up to the ceiling, be attached to the fascia rather than attached to the cabinet itself. In this example, though, notice how they dropped back down because the window itself has a molding, so they kind of drop it back down and then go back up. There's multiple ways to do this. You could actually have another fascia here and then this molding kind of continue above here and here. So you'll see pictures of this like as you research kitchens, that depending on how ornate kind of and how busy you want that molding to be. Here's just a quick example, probably from someone's SketchUp, of just a simple one and how it changes the heights. But remember that you're going on the side and the front, and then this is also going on the side and the front. So this is actually a pretty similar layout to, let's see, it was this guy here, what's happening with this hood here. All right, so let me actually go back to that last picture there. So again, to review this, so in class, I will sit with you and we'll kind of discuss kind of the geometry of what's happening in your space, like what things are coming forward versus what things are deeper, like this hood and this oven cabinet. And we'll kind of talk it out because everybody's is going to be different. So I'm going to review how to do this now. All right, so let me get back over to, I want you to go to the class Moodle page. All right, so on our class Moodle for ISD 201, we're in the 2025 semester. You're going to scroll down to where it says elevations and sections. And then there's a link to more CAD molding profiles. So those are the shapes that make, our lovely moldings. So you're going to click on the Google Drive here. And there's a list here. They're all pretty good. This guy here can be a little overwhelming because you download and it's like, it's a whole library of like all of them. So this is like all their crown moldings and their bases. I went into this CAD moldings one just because it had a nice kind of directory. So we'll talk through that in just a second. All right, so this is the one I went to. Here it is up here, already open. Oh wait, actually no, I lied. Let's see. I went to the Windsor one, that one, I think. Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, so this is the Windsor. So the nice thing with that is you can do it by style. So a lot of you have great reference photos. We're already talking about what style your kitchens are. So here in the heading, they're showing you under this classical colonial, here's what the crown moldings look like. You have more options, but this is generally. This is what the door casing. This is a crown. I'm sorry, this is a chair rail. So these are the ones that go like halfway up your wall. This is the base molding. So then they're showing you different options and different sizes. They have Greek Revival. You can keep scrolling. Classic Craftsman. Again, Colonial Revival. So I know you don't know all of these yet, but that's a good start for this company here. You can also do moldings by type. So I clicked on that and there's their bases that they carry. Here's their casings. Here's the stools and aprons. That's the bottom of your window. Now here's your crowns. So for this class example, I picked this guy right here. So I'm going to just download that again so you can see it. Clicked on DWG. Note though, before we get to that, is the size of it. So here, if we go back, you can see it's 3/4 of an inch by 4 9/18. So if when I open up that CAD, which let me grab it from my downloads. Hold on. Oh, wait, I already have it here. Almost there. Hang on. All right, so here's the CAD here. So this is 3 and 3/8. Basically, it's the height that we're talking about and kind of like the width that it sticks out. Now, this company is kind of nice in that here's the profile. They've also given you a hint of how to draw this looking at it straight on an elevation. So basically just copy and paste it. Also helpful to copy and paste the name that comes with it. Because again, if you were in the real world and you need to order it, you do not want to forget what one you're drawing here. All right, so I've Control C and Control V right here. All right, so here's our kitchen. And I'm going to talk through how we're going to put these guys in. Actually, ignore this for a second. All right, so here's our first kind of molding profile. Okay, I'm going to do the copy command, but I'm going to use it from the ribbon up here instead of Control C because I want to precisely have a handle for this guy. So I'm going to click on the one circle going into two circles, and then what I want to do is I want to copy this guy. So I click. So I left click once in the molding, hit enter. The handle I want now is right there. So I want that little guy right there. And then, all right, so this is my, here on the left is I'm looking at the side of the cabinets that are along the window wall. This is my, basically my, like my north wall. I'm going to put one here and then I'm going to put one over here because now this molding is going to go to the left across the side of that side cabinet. Then in space, it's going to go towards the back wall. Then it's going to come along the front of this cabinet here. Now, I haven't figured out my hood yet here. So then this molding, I assume, is going to go back towards the wall. So that's my shape so far. I'm going to draw a couple things on depth points just to get started here. So first of all, I'm going to connect these guys because they are going to go, this line is going to go all the way back to the wall here. All right. So before we get going, we want to, we're going to eventually actually explode these because you're not going to see the side of this. Remember, we're going to see this nice molding going across the front of here. So I'm going to pick the explode command, explode this one, and I'm also going to explode that one. I'm going to hit enter. All right, so they should be good to go there. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to draw across the lines that are going to be the kind of detail lines that make it look like it's molding. That's where they've given us. What I want to do now is instead of, I don't need to draw all those lines. I'm just going to draw basically two, and then we're going to talk about the layers in a minute. So I'm going to go for this one from this notch here. And I'm going to stop here and we'll talk about the difference in this in a minute. Then I'm going to go from this notch here. And actually, I'm going to wait here. So we're going to clean this up first. So what we want to do is on this side, we're going to delete these lines here. And now you can start to see that this is the side profile of that molding that's going to go back towards my wall. So because this is closer to my face, I want this on a darker layer. So I'm going to use this thin layer. So over here in your elevation layers, it's the second to last one. So it's, for me, it's the green. I'm going to have this whole face be the green. So this here, and it's slightly lower than it should be, but that's okay for now. There we go. And then here, and there's a tiny little curve right there. Now these lines, this set of molding is closer to my face. So I'm going to make all of this be green, and I'm going to actually keep the top line. I'm going to go over here too, and I want this edge, all of the ones on this right edge, to be green. I'm going to delete these two out because now what I'm looking at is this line is now me facing the molding along the back wall. So I'm going to have two more lines here just to give it, or actually one, just to give it some a little bit more depth. So these two, this one's going to go to here. Is that where the point was? Yeah. You can try to pick from the curve here, but that guy's kind of hard to find. All right, so these two lines are again kind of like detail accessory lines. So I'm going to make it this hatch layer, this last layer in gray. So these two are going to be gray because this line is farther back from me. These two on the left, I'm going to leave on this green layer because this is again a little bit closer to my face if I were standing in this room. All right, so this one is now going to be that and that. All right, so that's what it's going to look like on the left side of your room. And it's going to be pretty similar to the window wall, depending on what you have going on there. Now, this set of cabinets kind of just exist by themselves. Like there's going to be a hood here. So, but in reality, we're going to have the molding is going to come from the wall towards our face, go across the front here, and then go like back to the wall. So this one, we're going to have one piece of molding on this side and one profile on the right side. So first, what I'm going to do is copy this guy here. And again, I'm just going to copy it over here. Now, I want to be able to mirror this because I want one going, let's see, I want one going this way. So this one's already in the right direction. And then I want to mirror it to go facing that way. So the mirror tool is if I go up to modify, here's the mirror tool. So you click on that once, you hit enter. Then it wants you to basically tell it which is the pivot point, which is the line that it's flipping on. So I'm going to left click once here, left click down here again. And now let's see, I think it's showing, hiding it there. Okay, there we go. So now the next question it's asking down below, it's saying, do I erase the source object? Meaning, do I erase the one on the right or do I keep it? If I say no, it'll keep it there. So there's two there. And honestly, either answer is correct. So let's see, let me put no there. All right, so now there's two together. If I said yes to the erase, only this one on the left would be there. All right, so I'm gonna move that over now. So let me bring over here. And I'm gonna, again, use the move command that's here in CAD. And I'm gonna get the little handle right there. And I'm gonna put it right there. All right, so that's where one piece of molding goes. Now the next one, I'm gonna hit escape there. I'm gonna move this one. Again, get the little handle here, put it right there. All right, so far so good. All right, now what we want to do is combine the lines again here so it looks like a nice piece of molding that's facing us. But first I'm going to explode them both. So explode, explode, hit enter. We're going to now connect them along the top. So I'm going to just go from here to here. All right, so far so good. Then we're going to take out these two lines here. So delete, delete with this. There we go. There's one. And there's one. All right, so far already this should be looking pretty good. This one's kind of easier to do. We're going to match the properties. So the green is going to be all of this and that little kind of notch on the bottom. There we go. All of this here. And then we just need to do our kind of little accent lines. So again, my accent line for this, I'm going to use this top notch right here. And this is up to you. I would say just pick two lines that's part of your molding to kind of get that accent line in there. And then we're going to go from here to here. Now, again, these two are going to be on the hatch layer. So I'm going to match properties. I'm going to pick the hatch layer, go back over here. And there's my basically north wall of molding done. Eventually, we need some molding on the base. So that's generally, again, you're going to decide, you're going to look it up, decide how tall you want it. They're usually about a minimum of 4 inches. So you can also just go like this, put in a line from here to here. Let me get rid of that. And so the base here is usually the light gray, because again, this is kind of just a little like detail that we're adding. Eventually, I think I have my stove here or something. So you're not going to see base along here because we have a corner cabinet, we have a stove, like there's things I still need to finish here. All right, so this is complicated. It's hard to imagine what's happening in the real world and then draw it flat like this. So you and I will kind of sit with each student and we'll talk out what's happening in the geometry of your plan. So we'll be going back and forth and talking about what things are deeper, what things are shallow, and how they're kind of coming around corners. Um, but for now, what I want you to do is get your profile molding style, give it a try in a couple areas, because once you kind of put them in, we can see it, we can talk it out. And so that's what I expect you to be doing on your own. And then I will sit and help review everybody's individually, because again, everybody's is going to be different depending on the depth of your wall cabinets or like oven units and things like that.